And now, ladies and gentlemen, here is Crimson. Yay! Woohoo! Clap, 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 clap. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Saturday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I just figured I can actually just come and do some videos. Now, this is a week where it has been fucking super stressful, and I got another one coming up. And, oh yeah, fucking broke. So, what better can I do than sit back and play video games I've already purchased? And so we're gonna go through. This is gonna be a pretty long stream if I feel like it, and I'm gonna cover a couple of different topics today. So I want to thank everybody who's watched so far, and remember, like and subscribe. Let me turn that down just a little bit. I'm sure you guys can hear me. Anyway, yeah. So, what we are doing today is, for one, we're going to go through our useless shilling right now. And as you can actually see, I still have my Etsy store up. And let me see if I can actually pull this up in a small separate screen so I can actually show you guys. If you're watching on my Twitch channel, that's actually the best place to watch it live. And I will be doing these. Hopefully cut up on my YouTube channel. If I can ever get everything right, I'm still working out the technical logistics of doing this. So let's have some fun. Let's see if I can actually do this. Yeah. Actually, let's see. I'm gonna actually go to on my Twitch page while I'm monitoring the stream. So give me a second, guys. And up. Did it come up? Did it come up? No, it didn't come up. I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulties, right? Am I right? So give me a second. I'm trying to actually pull it up on my own. And so I've been looking for different ways to actually sell merchandise because, well, reasons. All right. All right. So let's put this up here. All right. This is my store. So yay. These are some of the items that I do have out. I actually have posters out. I still have my Zazzle store and I have merchandise everywhere basically. I'm trying to just come up with a lot of different things, a lot of different ways of getting my art out there. And if you haven't seen any of my art, they are in several different places. And yay, woohoo. Can you buy it with loyalty points from Streamlab? Wow. You can. So this is my Streamlab profile. If you haven't gotten it, it's yeah. So these are some of the loyalty points that I would actually give if you watch me on the Streamlab links. And yay. So we're going to close that out. And we're also going to go to the actual art itself. And I know useless shilling, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I get everything set up like I need to. And if you haven't, if you are watching, thank you for your patience. This was taken down from Zazzle. And I'm kind of pissed about this. They said copyright infringement. Fuck it. And you know what? I'm actually getting prints of this done. So, yeah, woohoo. So, also, do I have Battle Ready up there? No, I don't have it up there. But I'm actually going to be putting Battle Ready up pretty soon. And now, let's get on to the videos. So, as with always, guys, I like watching videos where I can have commentary and some shit that I see throughout the week. So we're going to talk about this bullshit about, especially with the topic of the whole abortion rights being under attack. I'm going to say this. I'm pro-abortion, not pro-choice bullshit, because the pro-choice bullshit is the same thing as having a meritocracy. You can say it in name, but if it's only a name only, it means dick dooley shit. But let's continue.
How you doing, man?
Oh, set up. Sorry about this, guys. So, watching the Destiny video, and I think this is from um May the 14th. And basically play some Conan XL. The conversation is feminism cancerous? I would say no. Totalitarian politics are. That's why I hate fucking cancel culture. When you tell somebody that they should be deplatformed because you don't like their ideas versus just arguing with them on their ideas. But a lot of people don't feel like being challenged. Don't give a fuck about being challenged because if you challenge me, I'm gonna challenge you. But let's listen to this.
I'm doing okay. Okay, listen, I love you very much. My parents are surprised in town, so I'm expediting this conversation. What did you want to talk about? Hit me up with that first.
As much as I'm about to complain about it, is like I love the way he says "I love you very much," and I think some of these guys doesn't know he's being sarcastic or being charitable, I should say. But it's neither here nor there. It's just like something that I find interesting. But let's continue. Where's my server?
Basically, I think feminism's cancer, and I think that you would disagree with that, so I think that would be the most interesting.
Sure thing. Let's just do that one. Why do you think feminism is cancer? Or first, actually, I'm sorry, do you want to introduce yourself? I guess so my audience knows.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Big Chronic. Do red pill stuff. Just mostly like the cringe SJW reactions.
What gets me are these idiots who says I'm gonna cringe SJWs, where they are reactionaries to bullshit, and fuck red pill, fuck you. Let's go.
Pretty much that, and anybody can agree with this, no matter your political persuasion. Great job metastasizing, right?
Wait, what's metastasizing?
Right, so when a cancer cell metastasizes, it's...
I don't know why my video is going in and out. Probably the same reason why I can't connect to the internet like I want to. Here in the Chicagoland area, it's like crazy storms, so it's causing some buffering, and I'm sorry about that, guys, but let's go.
It's like bad news, bad shit. Basically means it spreads and you're fucked.
Yeah.
Also, in a similar manner, spreads and you're fucked.
Wait, what spreads in a similar manner? Your mic cut off, sorry.
That's good. Feminism. Like the ideology, right?
Yeah, sure, yeah. Generally, when you give people freedom, more people want it, yeah.
And, yeah, that's the thing. The conflation of that's an interesting point, when you say feminism is freedom. Because it's like a definition game, right?
Not really, I don't think so, but...
The right does this too, but people will change definitions to kind of whatever's beneficial for them in that situation, right?
Sure.
It's called being a fucking human. Welcome to Earth. Nah, all jokes aside, what's the best way to say it? When things are said that you agree with, you tend to be more charitable to those things versus things you disagree with. It's just fucking human nature. And I'm seem to convince that people I'm going to explain this. He brings up an interesting topic that I'm trying to develop. People that tend to be right-leaning, not that they don't have imagination, but they have a problem with metaphors, similes, and hyperboles. They have a problem with nuance because things need to be black or white, good or evil, bad or good, hero or villain. I see that a lot, and when that happens, from my anecdotal evidence, people tend to be on the right. Now, yes, there are people that are on the left that have that mentality of good and evil, black or white. But those seem to be people that likes to flip their political alignment to mostly agree with people on the right. But fuck, I'm supposed to be starting this game. Let's continue.
I mean, I'll say freedom is the right to make choices and act in a way that's unobstructed by other people or society as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. And that does sound pretty good. But when you look at someone's actions, and if their actions don't line up with their words, that's where the issue comes in.
Okay.
I mean, you got to go off someone's actions, not their words.
Okay.
So, the most common example is when a chick says she wants to date a good guy. You want a chivalrous dude who opens up the door. Guys that, treat her like shit. It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, I don't think this happens in the real world. I don't think women...
Incel alert! Incel alert! Oh my god! A chick says she wants a guy to treat her right, but she dates jerks or people that treat her like shit. Dude, you could not be wearing your incel flag more harder if you had a red pill tattooed on your fucking forehead. But let's continue.
And look for people that treat them like shit and say they want guys that are chivalrous and open doors for them.
Okay, the first part you said, you don't think girls look for guys that treat them like shit. Yeah, I don't think any girl would, come out and intentionally say, I want a guy that treats me bad. Kind of subconscious mechanism, or I think what it is a girl is attracted to a man who is dominant, right? Or non-agreeable. He's going to stand up pretty much to anyone. So he'll stand up to other males, he'll stand up to the government, whatever. And in high school or, young adults, what that ends up being are bad boys.
Sure. Okay. But that doesn't... Look, in high school, I don't know how to word this carefully. In high school, I had one long-term girlfriend, and it was because I was just myself. And she... Damn, how do I word this?
In an effort.
Let me turn him down.
Subjects, His Majesty
But
has issued a new decree.
I had a long-term girlfriend because basically I just went after women that I felt would enjoy my company. It wasn't some big stretch of she wants a bad boy. Quite frankly, there were things that, let's just say, I didn't expect a woman to be with me when I was in high school to be a virgin. I wanted to have sex. So I went after people that knew how to stand on their own. And the fact that this guy actually says women want to be dominated by these domineering men, yeah, some do. Some women like that want to use the power of the guy to reinforce their own power. But you got a choice. You don't actually have to go after those particular types of women. I don't get it. You can actually go after good girls that like to touch your penis. I'm just saying. But let's continue.
To slap a girl around to get her to fuck you, but acting like you're above her is extremely beneficial if you're just trying to fuck.
Do you think it's...
Again, no. I swear to God, he sounds like an angry 16-year-old. Even at 16 years old, I wasn't that angry. God damn, what is wrong with some of these guys? Like, I don't know if they just... You don't have to be abusive to get a woman. You don't have to nag a woman in order to peg a woman. Or, you know what I mean. I don't get it. Like, I've never had to demean a woman or made her feel less than in order to make her want to sleep with me or spend time with me. By contrast, I find that when you talk to women and treat them like equals and people like you tend to actually do better. But let's continue.
One way to counteract this, maybe we could create a movement that empowers women to understand that they don't have to be with these types of people.
And I'm pretty sure women, as a man.
Wait, did he just miss that? Did he just? He missed it. He fucking missed it. He fucking missed it. He missed it like the idiot he is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah. This idiot missed it. Wow. So, and you can see it on Destiny's face. It's just funny. It's hilarious. Literally, quite literally, he says, well, if you think that women are going after shit assholes of a guy, maybe we should, create a movement that tells them that they're worth more than that. And this guy just strolls right past it.
And you can't tell a woman anything.
What do you mean? We tell women shit all the time. We tell them whether or not they can have abortions. We've told them that they can vote. We've let them into the workplace. I mean, men control women's lives like pretty hardcore up until certain rights are granted to them.
And that's what I'm saying. In this current situation, you tell a woman anything, she screams, "My body, my choice."
Wait, do you think a woman should be able to scream, "My body, my choice"?
This is actually funny because if it was a man that had... If it was a man that was coming on to some of these guys and he was bigger and stronger and he told them to just shut up, you're going to like it, you're going to take it, these men would be so fucking... I would say they would shit themselves, but that kind of negates the points. But they would have such a hissy fit. Right now, these weak ass little boys are crying because they can't tell somebody what to do and nobody wants to listen to them. And this motherfucker in particular is calling to say, like, well, you can't tell a woman nothing. Why? If you're such a strong man, if you're such a non-agreeable man, that's a contradiction. You're literally saying that the things that you're the thing that you're complaining about is because you can't tell a woman what to do. Yet and still, you want to tell a woman what to do. But let's continue.
Well, it's just hypocritical because if you look at the wider perspective, right, how the government treats men don't have the same rights as women.
How not?
And I can send you these sources if you need them.
No. This is a philosophical argument right now. In what ways are men...
Okay. Yeah, like, for real. Men don't have the same rights as women. In what fucking universe is it that men don't have the same rights as women? In Themyscira? Are we talking about Amazons again? Like, what the holy fuck is he talking about? But let's continue.
Like, fuck.
I can post all extended sources. As a group, men pay taxes.
Okay.
As a group, women use taxes. Not every single woman is a tax drain.
Don't you think men probably pay most of the taxes because men, like, make most of the money? Like, wouldn't this be like saying virgins are actually better off than ultra chads? Because ultra chads probably have women that scrape their dick with their teeth more than ultra virgins. I mean, isn't that just because the ultra chads are getting more head? I mean, like,
seriously, that's legit the argument that this man is making. Or this kid, because he sounds just like a fucking kid. And it's one of those things where it's just like, how women are a drain on society how? Like, I don't think he thought that phrase through as much as he think he does, because when you hear that conversation, it's like saying, well, men pay taxes because they work. Okay, great. Let women work. Women can't be in the workplace because we don't know how that affects everything, aka Jordan Peterson. But men have to work and they have to pay more taxes. You're coming up with a problem, coming up with the solutions, but don't want to fix either one. But let's go.
Like, is this really a good argument? I'm sure that men probably contribute more taxes because men probably earn most of the money, but that's probably a good thing, right? Like, I'm paying more in taxes now than I earned at my job when I was a carpet cleaner, but I'm not complaining about it. It's because I'm earning a lot more money, right?
This is true, but as a group, you got to realize, not every single man is out there raking in the dough.
Well, but those guys that aren't out there raking in the dough probably aren't paying taxes either.
Then it brings it back to the original point. Those guys who rake in all the dough aren't paying taxes, yet still, men as a group pay taxes. So it's not like a couple outliers or like a couple, financial giga-chads paying all the taxes, covering up all the other men.
Well, that's because men as a group out-earn women as a group.
So here's the thing. This is what is quite easily the most frustrating thing about this whole situation. Giga chats, like, I know Destiny brought it up, and he actually started the conversation with super chats, but this fucking fool notates his incel colors. Oh, yeah, he did say he was a red pill. He does red pill stuff. So let's go.
Would pay more taxes, but it's not that women pay less taxes than men. As a group, they are a tax drain. It's not a plus, it's a negative.
So should we get rid of all women in society? I mean, it makes sense that women would be a tax drain compared to men when they're probably more likely to earn less and they're more likely to stay at home taking care of children.
Problem is when they're staying at home, taking care of bastards, and they're on welfare systems taking men's money. That's
Somebody's angry he couldn't get laid. Aww. Is it bad? Oh, somebody can't get no nookie. Aww. This poor little bastard. Aww. Aww. His daddy probably left him too, went for some cigarettes and never came back. But let's continue.
How is that women's fault? Doesn't it take two people to make a baby? Wouldn't a bastard child be more the fault of the man because that means he left the woman?
Oh, it depends, right? Do you lay the blame on the man for fucking a chick, getting her pregnant, and ditching? I think it goes on
Yes.
the woman because she's the one that's...
If a man fucks a woman, they make a baby, and he ditches, it's his fault. He didn't have to leave. He has half of the responsibility of what that kid is. This is for somebody who actually is in a marriage that's separated. But I still take responsibility for as much as I can with my child, just as my ex does. The fuck is wrong with these? These people have never had to struggle. That's what their problem is. But let's continue.
Decided to open up and take the cream pie raw dog. You see,
Isn't that also on the guy? Doesn't it take two to make a baby?
It does take two, but women are the gatekeepers of sex. So when a...
Yeah, he hasn't had sex. You don't go in a situation saying that yeah, I'm gonna go in and raw dog a woman and give her a cream pie. Not unless you're shooting a porn. Clearly, his education about conception and relationships between things we call humans has come from a porn. And don't have to worry about getting demonetized. I'm nowhere near monetization. But if you want to help me get monetized, remember, like and subscribe to YouTube and follow me here on Twitch.
A woman has sex with a dude and has kids with him, and he runs off. Who was in charge of that situation?
I mean, the guy is just as much as the
Bad
woman. I mean,
judgment.
both people have to come together. It's like a two-person process, generally, at least from what I'm familiar with. You need two people to both say, like, okay, let's do it and make a baby. I don't know how you could assign the blame to one party over the other. It kind of feels like you're taking away all the agency from the man right now. I'm feeling a little bit insulted. You don't think men are capable of understanding whether or not cream pieing somebody leads to a kid?
And so this is actually a really great point, because a lot of these MRAs and a lot of these red pillars, they actually have this thing where they feel that specifically that women have so much control, so much agency over the situation of what happens with kids, where they have just as much control. A lot of these, like, as a man, you can go fight for custody if you can prove that you have sufficient means to take care of your child. This is something that you can actually do. This is something that you can actually fight for. You're supposed to be strong. This is what you're supposed to have. And I'm sorry, I don't. I gives no fucks. If it's something that you don't have the ability to take care of, if it's a child that you don't have the ability to take care of, then I understand that. What can we do to help you? But this shit right here, oh my god, it's almost as if he doesn't know how to person. Probably doesn't, but let's continue.
I think the average horny dude out there cream pieing these girls who end up on welfare give a shit about the consequences of their actions.
Okay, wait.
They should. That's the thing. They should. You are the same person that's sitting back and talking about a woman is... I think I found it. He doesn't think women get horny. Oh, he doesn't think women get horny. Oh my god, he probably literally doesn't think women get horny. He probably doesn't even think women have the right to say no to a man if they've... Oh my god. Let's continue.
So then the problem is with men then. So then the problem is with the men then. Should we get rid of men from society, or?
Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if the single mothers, or let's just say the prospective single mother, they took the cream from some bad boy, if they just went to the Planned Parenthood, did some choppy dicey, and I had to pay for the kids.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you just said. What do you mean?
Right? There's the pill.
He's a coward. He's a fucking coward. You don't have the balls to say, if a woman is pregnant, you don't mind her getting an abortion because she slept with a bad boy. If you're gonna have a hot take where you feel that you're so angry about this that you're gonna just be edgy and cool and red pilled and all this other good bullshit, please, by all means, go the full fucking way. And I'm not asking dude to show his face, but at least have the decency to stand up for what you believe, instead of, I hate these people, so those are bad. Ha ha, let me laugh. Let's continue.
Limitless options for females to control their own reproductive rights. It's, abortions, legislated against, which I don't agree with. I think, I think every girl should get one free abortion if she gets the tubes tied too.
Why not men get vasectomies and then get abortions for their significant others?
So here's the thing. This is the thinking of somebody who's never had sex before. A woman should get one free abortion if she gets her tube size as well. How fucking dare you? Where the fuck do you get this bullshit from? Like, I swear, it is like this. This is what we leaving our future to? God, I'm 30 fucking 7 years old. I I don't remember being this fucking stupid when I was younger. I know I'm not this stupid now, but how fucking dare you? Oh, because she's a slut. She got pregnant. Let's get her tube ties. Man, I'm not into council culture, but I will say this. Women, if you hear any of these men making claims like this, make sure that you are never in risk of needing an abortion from these fuckers by not fucking them. Don't fuck this guy. Let's continue.
Cool with that. If you want a man to get a vasectomy, whatever. But it's not the men.
Well, but it is. It takes two people to make a baby every time. It really does. That's how our species works.
You come back to the same point. But what I'm trying to tell you is that who decides whether a child is born? Full stop. The woman. At any point, a woman can abort a child.
Okay.
Power over that.
What?
Absolutely no. Once he's spurged, right? If she wants to put him on child support for 18 years.
Wait, hello?
You hear me?
Wait, your mic cut out for a sec. Wait, well, like, that's at any point after the guy's already made the decision to, like, impregnate her, right?
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's why I recommend, condoms. But
okay, cool. All right, I can agree with that.
Here's like the problem, right?
Uh-huh.
This is a group, right? And women are tax drains. And I would say that the women who are tax drains aren't the ones who are empowered feminists, right? The ones that are out there working corporate jobs, they're usually they're tax pluses. The legions of single mothers and their bastards leeching off the tax system.
To be fair,
What, do we go back to the 1930s with the single women and their bastards? I don't know. Maybe I missed something. But let's continue.
realize that everybody making under probably like 30 or 40K is like a tax drain, right?
I'm sure, probably. I mean, I don't know those stats. I just have the study that says, as a group, men pay taxes, women consume taxes.
Okay.
If some poor homeless bum, stabs a bunch of cops and has to go to jail, yeah, he's a tax drain.
Or if a man is working and only earns like 30K a year, he's probably a tax drain as well, right?
And I don't know what kind of programs you'd be benefit for.
Well,
right?
you're paying almost nothing in income tax, and then depending on your deductions, like you're gonna get shit back. And I mean, depending on if you have kids, you can get more write-offs. And then your consumption is probably gonna be higher than a wealthy person that's paying a much greater dollar amount.
Sure. The whole kind of argument I'm trying to paint here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if you disagree with these points. Right.
All right, so let's see him launch into some harebrained, half-ass argument, and yeah, this shit doesn't seem like it's well put together. It's something about it that just seems smacks of I'm fucking stupid, and please don't take anything I say to fucking heart. But let this gentleman actually explain what he wants to say. Let's continue.
I mean, I've already disagreed with pretty much every single thing you've said so far.
Well, let's see, theoretically, right? Women consume taxes, so you have a transfer of wealth as a group from men who work, paying.
I hate that these quote-unquote woke people that are really regressive try to use language of progressive shit. Like, they by definitions are literally regressive. But when you use transfer of wealth, like you're trying to sound smart and appeal to people that don't want to send us back to the fucking dark ages, it's hollow and disingenuous.
For the failed sexual decisions of a group of women, other men, that these dudes didn't even father.
Okay.
What makes it insidious?
Well, not really.
Man,
This is like an insanely one-dimensional view of like a pretty complicated issue. I mean,
I don't see it as complicated at all.
it's insane.
Right?
It's insanely complicated.
You don't see it as complicated because you can't. These whole situations where you get these guys where it's one way or another. I was saying, that whole horrible dichotomy that you get with some of these guys. Like, oh my god, like for real? What? Who fucking like? Really? Is that what? Is that? I don't know. Let's continue.
Here's a question. Let's say you have one guy that's making $150K a year and a woman that's staying home taking care of the kid. Is that woman consuming taxes?
She's a single mother?
No, if she's living with the father, if she's living with the guy, is that woman consuming taxes?
Well, then she's not a tax strain because she's not on welfare, man.
Okay, so you're literally just talking about people that consume welfare are the bad people, not women then.
I'm not trying to say they're bad.
Right? Well, okay, wait. So why do you keep going back to women and men when you really mean to say is people that consume welfare?
You're not trying to say that they're good or bad, but you're saying, oh yeah, they're bad. They take money from the system. And Destiny is pointing out a pretty good point right here, where it's not that it's that whole thing that people do. I'll put the controller down. I want to explain a couple of things. You want to find something that expresses your narrative the way you want to express it. So what you say is, well, this group of people is bad because they're this group of people. Say like black folks are bad because they're black versus they were hit by the social economical, smacked by a big social economical meteorite, and it's destroyed their economy, their livelihood, their family. And it was called the Nixon administration. But no, they're bad because they're black and they're on welfares. Newsflash, asshole. That's not what happened. They were fucking targeted because of the situation. And by extension, women are not tax drains because they are women. No, because of employment situations. But he will never see that because he wants it to be because they're women. Because reasons. But let's continue.
As a group, men pay taxes. As a group.
Wait, why do you keep going back to this men and women thing when you're just talking about people that consume welfare? Why are we talking about like men and women and then only talk about people that consume welfare? Because as a group, men pay more taxes than women, but women don't pay taxes if they're stay-at-home wives. So I mean, like I don't know, like these two things are not comparable.
Group of women who are tax drains are those single mothers on welfare.
Yeah, but you're not. Yeah, so you're talking about single. You're talking about single parents on welfare tax drains, not just women.
Exactly.
Sure. We can get down to the extreme diluted or.
Wait, no, it's not the extreme diluted. I'm trying to. Let's say, for instance, I have a country with 1 million people. Let's say almost all of these people are men and women that are families, and the men are all working, and the women are almost never working. And then let's say that I have like 100 men that are homeless, and all they do is consume taxes. In this society, men are still contributing most of the taxes. Women are consuming almost everything. But I mean, what would you argue? Like, this is just like a really weird.
Are all these women staying at home with a husband?
Sure, but men are still paying most of the taxes.
So they're not on welfare. So
they're not on welfare, but they're not paying taxes. Men are still paying taxes.
Then they're zero. Then they're a net nothing for taxes.
Yeah.
And here's the point. This guy wants to have this black and white dichotomy of, well, because reasons. These are the problems it's having because women are just drains on society. Fuckers like this, I don't even know.
But men are still paying way more of the taxes.
Men work. That's what you get if you go to the workplace.
Okay, so maybe we should make the laws, like if you pop out like a bastard child, the child should have to go with the dad instead of the mom. Maybe? Do you think that would fix it?
Yes!
I don't think so. Because, I think the majority of these single mothers who are getting knocked up and having these kids and the dads either run off with her, I'm not confident in the average, competency of a dude who knocks one of these chicks up.
Okay, that sounds really disempowering to men.
And that's what it is. It's saying men have no agency. It's just like when you get those countries that say women have to cover up or unless they tempt a man. It's taking away my power. It's taking away my agency. And I don't get that. I don't understand that. Because in the end, I want to have control over my body, and nobody can actually have the control over my body like you would get. Like, some of these cats complain because the first thing they want to actually say is women are controlling men. No, they're not. My body, my rules. My body, my choice. If I'm so depraved in and of myself that I can't control myself like that, I'm literally giving my power to somebody. But let's continue.
Like,
I think this is going to be a failed
We
state.
live in a society where men have to pay for the sexual failures of sluts.
I mean, but it's their sexual
There
failure
we
as
go.
well, right?
Yeah, but no one really cares about incels. Like, I care about them, but people just kind of shit on them.
Wait, what?
When a man,
He cares about him because he is one. Duh, he's an incel. And this is why he's so pissed off. Because he thinks that all women don't want him because they're sleeping with some giga Chad, and some Chad is taking all the vagina up. Dude, no. You're being an asshole. But let's continue.
a man's failure in the sexual marketplace is just him being a virgin. No one cares.
Wait, what does this? Wait, how do we pivot away from this? Wow, I don't
I
understand.
must have misheard you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying, well, why would we blame women for having kids when it takes men and women to do it? To have a child out of wedlock, it takes two people.
Okay. Well, to arm a bomb, let's say it takes two people.
Mm-hmm.
One person can disarm it, right? Other person, once they arm it, they walk away. They can't do anything in 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
The person who could disarm it at any point refused to. Who is more culpable in that situation?
So let's use his analogy because he doesn't know how to use analogies. Like certain other alphabet letter morons. Morons. That has the initial G. Anyway, so a baby is not a fucking bomb. And if you want to actually be more... If you want to actually look at the metaphor to the same way that he's trying to use it, well, here's the thing. Two people arm the bomb, one person walks away, and the other person that is standing there actually may lose their life because they're trying to disarm the bomb. That still means they're both culpable for arming the fucking bomb. No ifs, ands, or buts. They're both in the wrong for arming the bomb. That's it. Stop trying to take power away from men. And you say feminists are.
I mean, I guess past the point of the impregnating the person, it's left up to one person, but it still takes two people to impregnate them. Also, it's not just willy-nilly to get an abortion all the time. Like, these things can be costly. Not everybody has access to it. In some states, it's harder than others. Like...
Day after pill is under $100.
Day after pill, first of all, under $100, what, like a $70 or $80 pill could be a lot of money to some people, firstly. Secondly, the day after pill could be really rough on a lot of people.
So this further actually just makes me think this fucker does not know what adversity is. He's some spoiled little, privileged little kid that made me live out in the suburbs that says being poor is your fault. Being in a bad situation is your fault. Everything is your fault. There's no systems in place. There is nothing wrong in place. Your choices are your fucking actions. And I'm about to fail this game. I don't give a fuck. I'm just trying to start off a good sandbox game. But out the same side of his neck, he says, well, men are just trapped because women created this system to trap men and the laws are against men. Make up your fucking mind. And it's not about having nuance. It's, I need a scapegoat. Fuck it. Let's continue.
People's bodies, that's some hard shit. Thirdly, if you're over a certain weight, the day after pill doesn't even work on you.
it was the 70 to 80 bucks more or less expensive than having a child.
Did he just not hear that shit? Like, seriously. It's almost as if he wasn't fucking paying attention because he had a point to make. I'm sorry, what was just said? Fucking around.
That's not relevant
If
to
it's
what
a
I just
cost
said.
issue, as you said, if it's a cost issue, you know, they don't have $70 to spend. You have a couple $1,000.
Yeah,
for a
but poor
pastor.
people don't make decisions this way. That's like saying, like, why would you get a payday loan when it's going to be worse for you in the future? I mean, that doesn't stop people from getting payday loans. Like,
That's a good point. Yeah, you could say that poor people don't really think ahead that much. But, you know, you could always give up the kid for adoption or use a condom.
giving up people
You're
for
already
adoption
into
is
this option.
I don't think we can just flood the adoption things. And then using condoms, that's up to the man, not the woman, right?
Well, I mean, if a woman tells a man he's got to use a condom and he doesn't, that's rape. So it really is the woman controls the whole situation.
Okay. All right.
And
Okay, I got you. Okay, fuck. I have to leave and eat. I'm sorry, my parents are screaming at me. Do you have any final closing points for us?
you know
my
what,
God.
man? I just hope you have a safe trip
Okay.
to your vacation.
Thanks. I love you, buddy. Be careful.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god.
It wasn't Jordan Peterson. Who's the guy where it's like you have the sluts? Oh,
Ironically, the idiots named Peterson have some interesting takes on women and fucking relationships. Mind you, both of those are avid losers about their life, but you know, what can we do? All right, so I'm gonna take a break right now. Give me some more water, and I'm gonna actually put the reload music back on. And this is where I'm gonna actually break a little bit because I'm gonna try to set these things up in different. I'm gonna leave the full video on my YouTube channel, but I'm gonna actually also split this up. So give me a second, guys. We're gonna actually do this. Oh wow. I did not realize I didn't have my mic up. All right, so like I was saying, I know I have a bullshit job, and this guy, this guy, I get set, the donkey motherfucker. But yeah, a lot of people have bullshit jobs, and let's continue.
And so I started asking people, like, how often, what about do you actually do anything at your job? How many hours a day do you really work? And a lot of people say, well, to be honest, I think what I do, you could probably we do it in 3 hours, but a week, But I stretch it out, and they always say, like, don't tell my boss, okay? But a computer could do this whole thing. So you get all these people, and I thought about it, and I thought, well, this is really interesting because this is exactly what capitalism isn't supposed to do. Back in the Soviet Union, they did stuff like that. They made up all these jobs because they had a full employment program. Everybody had to have a job, whether or not you actually needed them to be doing anything. So they would, set up these things where to buy a piece of beef in the store, you'd have to go to one person to get the beef, and then you had a ticket, and then you have to take the ticket on another line. They just make up employment. But where do we?
And ironically, that's what we're doing a lot now. A lot of people just have bullshit jobs, and it's sad because we have bullshit jobs to keep us busy and not pay us enough. And then what happens is unemployment is artificially lower than what it needs to be, and employers feel that employees should fight over the job, and it's leading to a lot of us having shit job at low wages where, yeah, everybody who wants a job should have a job, but it should be more that everybody who needs to support themselves should be able to support themselves. But let's continue.
Something like that, except it's all being done by the private sector. Most of these people weren't working for the government. They were working for private competitive firms. So how on earth do you have a situation where private firms are making up jobs where they pay people not to do anything? That's exactly the last thing you'd think that a competitive firm would do.
The opposite of capitalism.
Yeah, except they're capitalist firms. So what's going on? And I thought about this, and I thought, well, in fact, these jobs constitute a pretty big sector of our economy. I didn't know how much at the time. I was guessing 20-25%. It turns out it's more. But
What the fuck, man?
think about it. Like, there's all these industries that are basically, if they disappeared, it wouldn't make any difference. Telemarketing. If all telemarketers vanished, most people would not complain. They'd be pretty happy, actually. Corporate lawyers. If you talk to corporate lawyers, there's one or two big.
All right, so yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these jobs that people have, it's more or less, they're bullshit jobs. Jobs that keep us fucking busy while we try to sustain our lives. And it's a fucking shame that we have so much of this shit that we have to do in order to survive. And people know that they're bullshit jobs.
Big shots who think what they do is important, but the vast majority say, well, yeah, it's completely unnecessary. If I didn't have this job, the world would not change in any way. And some of these things are jobs where it's not necessary. If nobody did it, nobody would need to do it. One guy needs a corporate lawyer, but somebody else has a corporate lawyer. It's like armies. Nobody needs an army. No country needs an army unless other countries have armies. The corporate lawyers are a little bit like armies, or telemarketers are like that. But there are other things that aren't even like that. Like all of these middle management guys who just organize meetings or fill out forms or supervise the way other people are filling.
So, I literally have somebody in my job at a call center that they actually don't do anything but teach people, coach people how to take calls. Like, legit, that's what their job description is. Coach agents on how to take calls. And they're seen with derision and distaste, because what ends up happening is usually all they are doing is just being a taskmaster, and that's what this would be really, really more advantageous for me to show you guys if I was playing a game where I had a taskmaster, like Conan Exiles. Conan Exiles. Fuck this. Let's go.
Filling out forms or create meaningless paperwork and reports. And I suddenly thought, well, this is why people are not working 15-hour days. Because back in the 30s, John Maynard Keynes wrote an essay called...
Exactly.
I can't remember. It was like the economic prospects for the next century, something like that, where he basically said in 100 years, we shouldn't be working more than 15 hours a day. Technology will have improved to the point where we can have a society
15 hours a week.
Leisure. Work will be a relatively unimportant part of our lives. And I thought, well, the interesting thing is if you look at what jobs existed in the 1930s, they could have done that if we'd kept up the same type of job profile. Because back then there were a lot of people working in industry, there were a lot of people working in agriculture, a lot of domestic servants. All that's gone. A lot of the domestic servants have now been replaced by service jobs in, Starbucks or whatever.
All right, so yes, like we literally have people, machines that can make your coffee for you. Like we actually have it where you can program your fucking coffee machine to turn on a coffee pot at a specific time. Like for real, that's what we have now. Now it's not, obviously not as good as real fancy coffee from Starbucks, but we literally have machines that do that. We have machines that fucking wash clothes. All you have to do is put the clothes in them. Like, oh shit, modern technology. Before, shit used to be hand washed, and it was just not a good thing. But let's continue.
But even we have this idea that industry, there isn't as many people employed, even if you count the ones in China and other places where the factories have gone. But actually, it's not so much service. I mean, the people think it's gone to the service sector. What it's gone to is the administrative, clerical, and supervisory sector. So if you count service and that together, it's gone from, I think, a quarter of the economy, or a quarter of all jobs, to 75% now. So you have all these people administering other people.
So what is going on here? Why is this happening?
Exactly. And
so basically what happened was this. We got rid of so many of the serfs, and now we have a lot of people that are just specifically are employed to make sure that other people are doing their jobs. And it's kind of sad that we have this situation where we're just getting to this point, and instead of making sure that for our labor we have more free fucking time, we now are in a situation where we are working ourselves to fucking death. And yeah, that's not good. But let's continue.
they're not really doing anything. They're just pretending. And then think about it. Think about all the people, you have some company where all they do is they take German forms and translate them into French forms. It's a completely meaningless job. But then there's all the people who are cleaning their bathrooms and doing the reception and the security for that building, and those jobs are unnecessary too. And how does this happen? Huge swaths of our economy is completely unnecessary. And I tried to think about it, and I thought, well, it's not the consumerism. That's the usual, because most of these jobs have nothing to do with like giving us more sushi and more iPhones and things like that. It seems to be this idea that work is a value in itself. Back in the 19th century, there was people really got the idea of the labor theory of value. Social movements really managed to get that out there and became common sense. Value comes from.
All right, so basically, it's work shaming. It's work shaming that we saw with that previous video where people felt if you're not working, then you're a drain on society, and that's kind of shitty. That's a shitty way of actually treating people, that their mere existence are drains on the society. And quite frankly, if you're that asshole that thinks that just because somebody is breathing, then they're not directly contributing to you, you're an asshole. Because we all have the rights to exist. Mind you, most of this shit comes from the so-called Christians. But let's continue.
From labor, we collectively make our world. We manufacture things, and
Protestant work ethic.
Yeah, there's a Protestant work ethic. It kind of jives with that. And but if you like listen to speeches that politicians made in the 1860s, 1870s, they all sound like Marxists. Abraham Lincoln, is like labor. All capital comes from labor. They had that idea, and it was really. But the idea of labor they had was industrial labor. I think this is part of the problem. The paradigm for all work was like, going and hammering something, and
shit,
steel, manufacturing, automobiles, whatever.
I still got to practice
work to make something. But so one of the problems they had is they kind of focused on production as if it were the paradigm of all labor, even though.
So here's the thing, and I'm gonna actually defend fucking YouTube creators now. Not because I am one, but a lot of people get at YouTube creators because they feel like they whine and cry about being entitled to certain shit. And yeah, I'm in the crowd that no, I can't even say that. You feel good when you're doing something and you get admiration for the work that you do. I'm not gonna sit back and say that you as a creator shouldn't have a pride in the work that you do, because it is actually something that is tied into what you're doing. And quite frankly, it's actually fun being able to create something and people like it. Now, should you drive all of your validation from that? No. Same reason why I do art. I like to do art because it connects me with the work of my hands. It connects me. It's a visualization of the effort that I put in. And quite frankly, for those people who shit on creators because they should do it for the art, yeah, people do it for the art because that's something that they can show is theirs. And it just gives you such a sense of pride. Now, when you take that pride to actually devalue other people because you have a strong sense of pride, then you cross in the line. But when you actually create something, it feels good. Like, it really feels good. And I'm not gonna lie, like, when I find out that more than one or two people watches my videos, it's an example of my creative work, my art, because that's what this is. Even though I'm playing a video game and commentary, it's an expression of me. And it shows it shows that, you know, I can get a message out there. But let's continue.
Most people, even then, were not in factory workers, even working class people. More of them were, cabbies and nurses and gardeners, caretakers. I always say, you produce a cup once, but you wash it like 1,000 times. Most labor is actually maintaining things.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to London Real Academy.
All right, so we're not going to do that. We're going to actually switch to our old friend, Rutger Bregman, on the second. Basically, I liked his take of this shit because it was fucking fun. So, let's talk about Rutger Bregman. Give me a second. I just had it. All right. All right. So, yeah. We're doing this. Let that ad skip. All right. All right. So, we're going to talk about Rutger Bregman. He actually did the same thing. He had a title on Bullshit Jobs, and it was actually interesting. And I like his flamboyant take on the shit, was kind of fucking hilarious. And we're going to actually watch this. So, let's go.
Okay, so let me just restate. You've written that the welfare state, despite all the advances, deals with the symptoms of our discontent as opposed to the source of our discontent. Just expand on that and explain what you mean by that.
Sure. Well, if we talk about something like poverty, I think the most important thing we should recognize that poverty is not a lack of character, it's just a lack of cash. So in that book, I go over all the evidence we have from economics, from all sorts of experiments that happened since the 70s that show that eradicating poverty by just giving people money, going at the root of the problem and solving it with this medicine called money, works really, really well. But so often what we're doing in practice is that we're, trying to do something about the symptoms, right?
So, in other words, give people money and let them decide. And you know what? You know what happens when you do that? People actually spend it on the shit that they need. Now, I am nowhere near somebody who says that Andrew Yang's universal basic income bullshit. Because that's all it is. It's a gimmick. It is definitely a gimmick to cut the social safety net. And what kind of gets me about it is that it's not there to actually, make sure people are taken care of. It's there to actually cut the social safety net, just like they did in like Alaska, where they have almost no social safety net and things are fucked. But let's continue.
We invest in education, all these courses that are supposed to help people make better decisions. That's not really solving the real issue, which is that poverty is just a lack of cash. And in so many cases, we should just hand out the salaries of the people that are trying to help the poor, because the real experts on the poor's lives are the poor themselves. It's just that they don't have the money.
Let's talk a little bit about the.
I don't know how to play as fucking
a considerable amount
set.
of, at the very least, data and evidence. Let's talk about what you call Mincome Canada, which I think. I think maybe to a certain extent we've talked about a little bit or touched on on this program, but tell us about the experiment in Canada, and which I don't think most people realize. There was also experiments in this country with simply paying poor people money so they won't be poor.
All right, so yeah, he's gonna get into the whole conversation about what we actually did before, and it's back in my catalog where I'm talking about Rutger Bregman. about how they did the experiment with Canada, and we're gonna actually let that play a little bit. But how they just gave money and people were okay. But let's continue.
Yeah, not many people know that at the end of the 60s in the United States, almost everyone believed that some form of guaranteed basic income was going to be implemented. You know, everyone was in favor of it, from the left to the right. At some point there was a letter in the New York Times signed by 1,000 economists who all said, you know, we got to end poverty in this country. And then in the early 70s, Richard Nixon, of all people, said, you know what, if everyone's in favor of this, let's do it. It's a pretty bizarre history. This bill went through the House of Representatives twice, and it was only killed in the Senate by Democrats, not because they didn't like the idea of eradicating poverty, but because they wanted a higher basic income. So yeah, this is a pretty fascinating history. It was also in this period that in North America, you had as much as 5 big basic income experiments. And indeed, one of them was, as you mentioned, in this small town in Canada, the Lincoln experiment.
Well, tell us a little bit about that experiment.
All right, so listen how ironic that is. Richard Nixon was the one to actually start it, but it was killed because people didn't have enough money. That's fucking awesome. But that new hell skin actually looks pretty nice. Is that the best way to fucking draw hell? I'm sorry guys. I want to actually take a look and see. When it comes up, I can actually do it. I like that skin. The skin actually looks nice. I just got a new idea for a drawing. Wow. Which one is that? Pop Punk? That is a nice hell skin. And she flips to the. I'm sorry. I'm fascinated by it. Wow, that's a nice ass hell skin. But let's go.
Okay, so this started in 1974. A big experiment, a town where poverty was just completely eradicated. So as soon as you fell below the poverty line, your income would be automatically topped up. Now, there were lots of anthropologists and economists and sociologists who all moved into that town to monitor the effect. And they gathered a lot of data, did a lot of interviews for 4 years. But after 4 years, there was a problem. A new government was voted into power, and they didn't really like the experiment, or the idea of just giving people free money. So what they did is they canceled the whole thing, and there was no money left to analyze the results. So there were 2,000 boxes full of data that had to be put away in the archive, and then basically everyone forgot about it.
So, and you heard the story again before. Basically, there are people. The experiment worked, and it actually helped. But a government came in. Probably people that are thinking like we hate giving away money, and we would hate to be to blame because no government hates giving away money. They hate to be blamed for giving away money to people that are felt to be beneath. But let's continue.
So 25 years passed until a professor called Evelyn Forget found the record, did the analysis, and found out that actually it was a huge success.
And by huge success, what are the measures that we're using to determine that?
Okay, a couple of things. So, in the first place, a lot of people worry that if you would just give people free money, that they'll just stop working. Now, this is simply not true. So in all the experiments, you see hardly any reduction in work hours. And if there's a little bit of a reduction, it is always compensated by people doing more volunteers work, or caring for the children or caring for the elderly. So that's not something to worry about. And then you've got all the other positive effects, like healthcare costs went down. So the hospital.
So, funny enough, what happened was people didn't have to work as hard. So they started doing shit like being charitable. Or, taking care of the elderly or children. the fuck wants to see that happen in a society, right? Am I right, guys? But let's continue.
Hospitalization rate in Dauphin, this town that I was talking about, dropped by as much as 8.5%. Crime went down. Kids doing much better in school. So the interesting thing here, and this is something that researchers actually found from a similar experiment in North Carolina, is that basic income can be an investment that pays for itself in the long run, because the reductions in healthcare costs and policing costs, etc., are bigger than the cash grants themselves. So yeah, it doesn't really matter if you whether you're left wing or right wing. I always say that if you don't have a heart, then at least you have a wallet. It makes fun.
So, interesting enough, if you have a bigger social safety net, people actually act a little bit more humane when they get to be treated as humans. What? No. It's almost as if crime is a product of being poor and making bad decisions. It's almost as if, you know, if we take care of our society, people actually come out living better, acting better. And you know what? The same can be said for a lot of different things. Did you know you actually save money with giving it away to poor people for healthcare costs? Because more people that are able to look after themselves, they actually go to the doctor more often and don't use the emergency room as a primary care. But, you know, humanity, who really fucking needs it, right? But let's continue.
Financial sense as well.
And what of, I mean, one of the, I want to touch on in just a moment some of the fascinating history about Nixon, because that in addition to the Democrats wanting more, there was another narrative that got developed out of that time inadvertently by Nixon, you write, and I want to touch on that in a moment. But in terms of the policy itself, to what extent, though, and this has been to the extent,
and we know Nixon fucked up. Nixon fucked a lot of people pretty harshly. We know that Nixon did that. And I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't some racist shit behind it. I mean, like, I wouldn't be surprised. I actually would expect it. But, you know, just wouldn't be surprised. But let's fucking continue.
Extent that I've heard any critiques of a UBI from the left, it has been a...
After studying on Udemy, I have now a full-time job as a software engineer. I make 3 times more money than the money I spent on the courses on Udemy. And I had a friend who is working in this field and is very good at what he does. He said,
concern of the politics that in some way...
Sorry, guys, trying to get back so I can pick up these minions.
...way we saw with Dauphine, which is that you could, you know, folks like Milton Friedman wanted to institute a UBI, or you know, a guaranteed basic income, and as a replacement for other forms of support for people living in poverty. And the concern is that if you put all the eggs in that one basket, the ability of that basket to shrink, depending on the political winds, is difficult.
Well, you know, I really see basic income as a directional thought. And there are many, many different versions of basic income out. Very exciting and, you know, hopeful. And some of them are just a really bad idea, you know?
Like Yang's idea of universal basic income. Yang's idea of a universal basic income is shit. It's a way of cutting the social safety net. And no, we're not going to do that. We're definitely not going to do that. Speaking of safety net, let me just Yeah, I'm about to get my ass handed to me. Shit, run away. Ooh. Ah. Damn. No. Damn it. Okay. Let's go. Haven't died
you
yet.
have this libertarian version of basic income, which is all about, getting rid of the welfare state as we have it now and just supplanting it with one small cash grant.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. We should not get rid of the welfare state as we have it now in order to give universal basic income. We have enough money to do fucking both. And what irritates me is that people want to take, universal basic income and actually use it as a way to say, we're going to give poor people money, but cut all the other social safety net strings. No, that's shitty. And you still screw people over like that. But let's continue. Damn it.
Don't get me wrong, I think that would be a horrible idea. I mean, I'm from Holland. I know that universal healthcare is a pretty great thing. And public education is also a pretty great thing. So a guaranteed basic income would really be supplement. It would be the crowning achievement of social democracy.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's the devil's in the details here. It's important to look at that.
Okay, and so tell us about what Nixon did. I mean, it was fascinating, the idea that he wanted to be the conservative who makes this sort of like highly progressive leap forward. But in his rhetoric, he ended up sort of creating another monster.
Yeah.
So, I think it was all the investigations that fucked Nixon over. It was all of those investigations that screwed Nixon in the end because Nixon, he created the fucking EPA. Nixon created the fucking EPA. Like, fuck this store. Fuck this store in particular. Matter of fact, fuck all Thors. Fuck Thor's Day. Because it's Friday is better. Fuck all Thors. Thors. I was about to say Thors can go to hell, but yeah, that's still, I don't know.
Well, it's a good example that, if you zoom out a little bit and look at the broader span of history, you just realize that it's really ideas that matter in the long run, right? So it's really hard to imagine right now that at the early 70s, it was this conservative president almost...
I hope they're making progress on the side, but speaking of progress, yeah, it was Nixon, and I really think it was... If he just wasn't such a horrible person, his name would have actually been mentioned in history in a lot more favorable light. But the whole starting a drug war, starting racist policies and all this other good shit. And, spying on the Democratic Party in their offices kind of would tarnish a lot of shit for you. But let's continue. Shit. Yeah, run, motherfucker, run. But let's continue. I hate doing videos like this when I'm playing Smite, but let's go.
Implementing this
I can get too wrapped up in
seemingly
it.
radical progressive idea. Now, what happened in that process in the 70s is that it's a pretty bizarre and complicated history. But to summarize it quite quickly, is that Nixon feared something about a report of a sort of basic income-ish-like experiment that happened in the early 19th century, actually, in England, where supposedly they had some kind of basic income that didn't work at all. And that sort of convinced him to change his language. So he started to use the language of workfare, as opposed to welfare.
And so, yeah, I don't. If Nixon was like as good as like, damn, even in a Watchmen timeline where Nixon rode to popularity on the third term, he was still an ass. But let's go.
And he started talking a lot about the lazy poor and the lazy, people who were out of job. And, that was later taken up by Reagan as well. And then we moved into a totally different era. What I've learned from all of this is that history is not governed by big laws, and often it's not governed by, the vested interest either. But coincidences matter a lot, and ideas as well.
So he looks at Speen Hamland in England.
In England,
and thinks that workfare is going to be the easiest way to get this guaranteed basic income in, and it ends up all that we get from that is this notion of the premise of workfare, that you need to motivate people to work. Let's talk about your other proposal, and that comes from in part, I guess, maybe the Jetsons, in part from Bertrand Russell.
Yeah, this is the funniest fucking thing that there is. But let's go.
The idea of a 15-hour work week. Explain that to us.
Okay, so this idea, it basically goes back to the famous British economist John Maynard Keynes, right? So in 1930, he wrote an essay called Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren. It's a fascinating read. You can just Google it, Economic Possibilities for Our Grandchildren, and your mind may be blown, because he made two predictions in that essay.
All right. And Keynes was actually a fun economist, and it was demand side economics. This is like, and one day I'm gonna actually go through the whole Mark Black. It is some great Mark Black videos where I think they're like really fun and really enjoyable, and I think we should actually go through it. I gotta dedicate one Saturday to do it, because it's not like these 10 or 15 minute videos where I can just talk crazy about them, and I probably won't be gaming doing them, because you guys see how easy I'm distracted with this game. But let's continue. There we go. Tag that ass, Nua. Come on, get that ass, get that ass. Yes. Sorry.
It's just 8 pages long. Where he said, in the first place, we're going to be a lot richer, right? So if economic growth continues as it has been, as we've seen it since the 1850s, we'll be a lot richer. And if we just use a little bit of that wealth every year to work a little bit less, then the work week will keep shrinking and shrinking and shrinking.
Fucking Nike.
Less and less and less. And
all right, so by now it was almost common knowledge to say that, hey, we actually should be at a 15-hour work week by now. Fucking Henry fucking Ford thought this way. That's why he gave his workers more money and a day off to shop, and that boomed the economy, and people bought more Ford cars. But these reductionist ass late stage capitalism motherfuckers, where they think, no, we can't trust the masses to spend their money on things that would help them out, or even make sure that they can live in a way where they're not splurging but they're living comfortably. No, we can't trust them that much, so we have to beat them in submission by dictating how they spend most of their day and depriving them of the funds that they need to survive, which is fucking stupid, because hey, give more people more money, they're going to go out and buy shit. But let's continue.
if you just extrapolate, we'll have a 15-hour work week in 2030. That was Keynes' prediction, one of the great economists of the 20th century. Now, you could say, I never really liked Keynes anyway. He was this crazy guy. But actually, almost all the experts, all the sociologists, the philosophers, up until the 70s, they all believed that we would be working in less. It's only since around the 1980s that we started working in a hell of a lot more.
Well, what happened? I've spoken on this program about finding an article in a steamer trunk at a yard sale from a futurist, I think it was in the early 60s, addressing a Rotary Club in Florida, talking about how we're all going to be carrying around little TVs, which was accurate. We're going to get beam stuff from the space. He thought at the time they would be powered by kerosene, but so you can't get everything right. But he did say the biggest challenge we're going to have by the year 2000 is what to do with our leisure time.
Ha! No, that's not what happened. Because fucking capitalism. Because fucking capitalism, we're in this shit state that we're in now. Because people are fucking greedy, and we need to crush any opposition to our perceived dominance. Which is fucking stupid. But let's continue.
Because of the amount of work that we would not need to do. So what happened? I mean, this is what you call, many respects, I think what you call the great decoupling. But what happened?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. What we underestimate is capitalism's extraordinary amount, or extraordinary ability, I should say, to come up with new bullshit jobs. Jobs that simply don't need to exist. To be honest, I can already see this, as someone from Holland, where workers are better protected and we've got a higher minimum wage. You see so many jobs in America that just don't exist in Holland, right? Greeters at a supermarket, so much security, that's not really necessary in my mind, right?
Yes, because here's the thing. So many people are oppressed with their wages, with their fucking freedoms to come and move as they need to. We have no choice. How do we work the most but watch the most TV? Or YouTube? Don't fucking know. But let's continue.
So capitalism is really good at inventing all these jobs that don't really need to exist. Now, if you don't believe me, you can ask people themselves, right? We've seen huge polls in the past couple of years. There's now a scientific study done by 2 Dutch economists where they ask people the question, do you think your job adds anything of value to society? Turns out 25% of the modern workforce says no, I don't add anything of value to society. I could go on strike and no one would care. Now, who are these people? Well, they're not teachers, they're not nurses, they're not care workers. Actually, they're often people with wonderful resumes who went to great universities, who work for banks or for consultancies or you name it. But still, at the end of the day, they have this feeling like, my job doesn't contribute anything.
Yeah, motherfucker, run.
Well, so what? Why is it, in your estimation,
is
that capitalism?
Sorry about that, guys. Why?
In the context of the United States, it develops these bullshit jobs. I think we had Graeber on to talk about this some time back. Why do you think it is? Has that been the answer, as opposed to what are the forces that create that dynamic?
Well, I don't think it's about technology or about economics. It's really about ideology. If you have this ideology that goes back to the 19th century, which is all about you have to work for your money, and where we use a very narrow definition of what work actually is. So you have to be in a hierarchical relationship with an...
All right, so here's the thing, and this is why anybody who's working for the fucking gig economy should realize one of the tenets. Like, if you're a YouTube streamer and you make money in a substantial way where you can actually support some sort of bills, in no means should you discount as what being said here, because if you actually look at it, a lot of this is just shit that you already act in belief of that you're doing right now. Because what is going on is that I lost my train of thought. It's the fact that we see so much of this shit where, like, you have jobs now where you can make money by doing this shit. Playing video games on a fucking computer. Sorry, hit my mic. And that pays you money. Now, the shit is being clamped down on, but still, it's capitalism comes up with crazy shit to make money. But let's continue.
Employer, and you pay, you get a salary, you pay taxes over that. And that's the only thing we consider work, right? We do not include caring for our kids in GDP. We do not include caring for the elderly in GDP, right? Or all kinds of other volunteers work. Now, if you have this ideology, this belief system about everyone should do this kind of work, and then there's suddenly no work left anymore, right? Because the robots are coming, they're taking more and more jobs, then you get into this crisis.
So, fun fact, fun little aside here. I hope I'm part of the generation that you see in Ghost of the Shell Solid State Society, where you get the robot nurses and they put you in a VR and you had the good drugs. I hope I'm part of that situation. They already got PlayStation VR, so yay, woohoo. But I'm more part of that generation where, hey, I'm old, but I'm living in the VR simulator. Sort of like, the whole Horizon Zero Dawn. And speaking of Horizon Zero Dawn, I may fucking play that. But let's continue.
Ideological, and you just start inventing jobs that don't need to exist. I think that is exactly what we've seen happening in the past couple of decades. And I mean, if you want to see what the future can look like, I think you should go to a country like Japan, because Japan has the most robots per capita, right? It's the most technologically advanced society in the world, probably. But then the unemployment rate is the lowest in the whole rich world as well. So how did they do it? Well, you just walk around in Tokyo for a couple of hours and you'll see so many jobs that don't need to exist, right? There are roadworks and there are literally 10 people standing next to it, waving to, go to the left, go to...
Huh. This is true. In Japan, there are a lot of jobs where you see people, like, you see a lot of jobs where they've innovated themselves out of human existence. But let's continue.
You're right. It's absolutely useless. But that's what happens if you have this ideology that everyone needs to have a job.
Well, so where does what is the ideology? Is that a function of capitalism? I mean, it's clearly not just puritanical, or maybe it is, and somehow we exported that to Japan. Is it just a function of capitalism? And what does?
No. Communism had it as well, right? So if you went to the Soviet Union, there was also this ideology that everyone should have a job, right? And you would go to a bakery or something, and you would buy a piece of bread, and there would be someone to give it to you, someone to hand you over the receipt, someone to put it in a bag, right? And just because there's this ideology, we all need a job. I think that's what we need to get rid of. The real goal of the future should be, as one science writer once said, the real goal of the future should be full unemployment, so that we can live the good lives, right? That should be the promise of technological progress.
I mean, in some respects, there's a failure of culture too, right? Because there is not enough of a competition for that time. I mean, you mentioned.
Yeah, and then we get AIs and robots, and then we have the Matrix, and then the red pillars are showing up. Be like, whoa! I told you guys that you guys are, inventing or devaluing certain people, certain groups out of, taking them out of, like, yeah, we're no longer the hunter-gatherer tribes that we used to be. We're no longer the caveman that we used to be. And because of that, there are a lot of things that we used to actually kind of there are things in there are situations where we no longer have to put up with the subsistence that we've had before. But yeah, that was a thing where we actually used to live off of having farms and turning the land. We're no longer at that point where we need to do that anymore. And I think that's where a lot of you need to work to eat comes from. Where if everybody wasn't a part of the community, was actually helping or supporting the community, then you had the same situation that you have now. Fuck you guys. Come on, I can dodge. But let's continue.
Mention how much people watch TV. I think specifically in this country, but there it's and certainly you quote Bertrand Russell. The idea that we don't really, that our leisure time is really just a way to regenerate for work, as opposed to the development of a rich cultural life that.
Let him finish.
Makes pursuing things that aren't for work as easy as sort of like almost like second nature as the idea of like entering the workforce.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the interesting thing. If you compare countries internationally, and you look at the countries with the longest work week, those are also the countries where people watch the most amount of television, right? Because
this is true. We have the longest work week, and we watch the most amount of television because we're trying to recuperate from the terror that is work. But let's continue.
They work so hard, and then at the end of the day, the only thing you can do is sit back and watch stupid cable news, right? And be brainwashed. If you look at the countries with much
like when you go on Fox News,
you'll see that there are also the countries where people go to the theater most often, where they read the most books, where they do most volunteers work, etc. So my conviction is that if people have the time, they can also, live the good life and actually develop their cultural taste and you name it. But you need the time for it. If you're tired, then the only thing you can do is watch stupid television.
All right, guys.
If you're selling your home.
All right, so that's gonna be enough for that today. I'm just gonna say a couple things as I end the program today. Oh wow, I've been streaming for like 2 hours now. One, the first thing I'm gonna say is nobody can take your power away. You give it away. Nobody takes your agency away unless they have guns and shit like that. But if you think that you don't have a choice to make over how you respond to things, yeah, that's kind of bad. But on a other note is, do you have a bullshit job? I will say it. I have a bullshit job. I have no compunctions about having a bullshit job. I'm hoping to have a less bullshit job. If you guys can like and subscribe or stream or whatever to whatever platform I'm streaming this now, or like and subscribe on YouTube when I finally have it up, that'll be great. But I really am hoping not to have such of a bullshit job, because that is one thing that people need: bread and circuses. They need bread and fucking circuses. And this is a circus. Because look at all these clowns that's on the motherfucking screen. And ooh, we moving in unison. Ooh, this is lovely. But guys, enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for watching here at Crimson 60620. Remember my merch store. And enjoy. Peace.